I'm a burn survivor. In 1973 I was involved over 85% of total body surface. 15% of that total was third degree, meaning all layers of skin were burning. My shipmates put me out with a mattress cover. I spent the next 18 months in hospitals. After becoming stable, about 2 weeks, I underwent daily debridement of dead tissue. Lowered into a stainless steel T-shaped tank filled 1/3 with saline. The nurses cut away all the bandaging, and then using scissors and scalpels cut away all the detritus. If you ever need to torture an enemy agent, burn the back of their hands till all the skin is black. Rip off all that dead skin and wrap the tissue in gauze soaked in sterile saline, and wrap that in more cling bandage. Wait 24 hours. Dip the hand into salt water and remove all the bandage to the layer of gauze. Rip the gauze off, one finger at a time. I promise the agent will give you every truth he knows. There's no way they could put you under for all that. Getting flayed alive. Flayed alive, flayed alive. My wife thought the last month of pregnancy was worse than giving birth. She said giving birth was more painful for that day, but the constant tiredness and back pain was a worse experience for her. Makes me think of all those people, especially old people, with long-term ailments having to go on each day with pain. Pregnancy is so much worse than childbirth, for me personally. If I could go through childbirth twice instead of 38 weeks of pregnancy, first 2 don't count, followed by childbirth, I might have another kid. But yeah, it does say a lot about chronic pain. Acute radiation poisoning, the level that you get from holding cobalt-60 too long, or what killed Daglian and Slotin after the Demon Core incidents. Just watch Chernobyl on HBO and see what the radioactive graphite did to the firefighters that touched it. A quickly spreading burning over your whole body, just to be tricked into thinking you're getting better for a few days, and then your body literally begins breaking itself down. According to several studies, being on fire. 89% of people on fire have said they would rather be having a baby. They have to push down on the mother's stomach after giving birth to get some of the excess blood out. Multiple times. Think CPR but on the stomach. My wife said that was 10x worse than the birth part. I'm going to go with that. Or that first S*** after labor. Constipation due to painkillers and meds combined with the recent trauma down there. It's bad. Like really bad. Acute radiation poisoning. Fun fact, it's impossible to administer painkillers effectively. Once your body starts decomposing with you still alive inside of it, there's nothing but pain left. Man, that was so fun. What a fun fact to read. Wife said kidney stone was at least the same as childbirth, natural, maybe worse. I gave birth twice without an epidural twice. Second time the baby was partially breached and got stuck in the birth canal, meaning I pushed her head out of my cervix and it partially receded back into me because the body couldn't come out after it. So the baby's whole body was just stuck in my cervix a while until the doctors broke some of bones so she'd be more malleable so they could maneuver her out. Having a full-term baby stuck in the cervix is not pleasant. Especially not in an induced labor, which has artificially strong and persistent contractions. But I have also had gallstones and I will say, as many women have, that they were more painful than childbirth. I believe kidney stones are too. Or at least most women say so. I'm going to assume torture. Agreed. There are horrible ways of torture. Plus the fact that, in contrast to other ways of dying, torture can last, as long as the torturer wants you to last. So even though dying in a fire, for instance, may be much worse on the immediate pain scale, slow, seemingly never-ending torture must be agonizing. My mom had to get her wisdom teeth removed as a teenager without any anesthetic, and she told me that was more painful. That sounds like a torture technique, not a medical procedure. According to my wife it was gallstones, but she also had an epidural and couldn't feel the baby being born at all. She did feel a few heavy contractions before they got the epidural placed though. I've dealt with gallstones in the past. Yeah, those fucking hurt. Gallstones is the most pain that I, a man, have ever felt. Some women do compare it to the pain of childbirth, but of course I will never know. being skinned alive and covered in salt. That's gotta qualify, right? Edit. Your offerings of karma are much appreciated, mortals. 6 years ago I got T-boned on my motorbike and my left leg was degloved from my lower shin to my upper thigh/buttocks. I was thrown into a small pine tree and I remember feeling all the little pine needles sprinkling into my open leg when the fire department/paramedics were assisting me and prepping for transport. I was in shock, so wasn't feeling too much pain until the adrenaline wore off and said something like, "Excuse me guys, I know you're doing your best, but I think you're getting a lot of pine needles in my leg wound." Not quite the same as flayed plus salt, but hopefully it's as close as I'll come. I had a pressure ulcer that went down to the bone after a coma, required many debridements to cut out slough tissue. One time they didn't adequately numb the area before cutting. The world went white, and I wish someone nearby would stop screaming. A second later I realized it was me. Holy shit. Why were you in a coma? I'm so sorry you suffered a pressure ulcer. No excuse for that in my opinion. Are you okay? Cluster headaches. https://endpointwikipedia.org/wiki/cluster_headache. WPROV equals SFTI1. Also known as suicide headaches. People will kill themselves just to stop the pain. It's horrible. Edit. Thanks for the rewards and DMs, but I personally don't suffer from this. My wife does though. She often talks about ending it when she has an attack. Luckily she hasn't done anything yet, but in all honesty I wouldn't blame her if she did. It's horrible to go trough, even more horrible to watch knowing there's F*** all you can do. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for. Here https://yauta.b/zw88ns@_m. A fairly disturbing clip of a dude documenting one of his episodes as it's happening. My understanding is most people who have gone through both consider it significantly worse than childbirth. Uncontrolled gout. Thought they were going to have to saw my leg off and was looking forward to it. Gout. I had a female neighbor who had 2 kids and then had a gout attack. She said she would rather have another kid than go through that gout again. I imagine stillbirth would be even worse. Suffering the physical torment and with any mental anguish that's normal, but the emotional pain of stillbirth on top of that. Yeah. I imagine that to be quite unbearable. Edit. To any and all who do not agree with this position, try and remember one thing. The question posed what was more painful, not what was most painful. That's something of an individual perception that's hard to agree on, no matter who you are. Or infant loss. I watched her live 7 short weeks connected to ECMO and saw her heart stop beating once as a code blue swarmed in to revive her. Don't recommend -12/10. I've heard, from experienced baby expellers, that kidney stones and surgical ingrown toenail removal are specifically horrendous. This may also have been because you don't get epidurals for those things too, lol. I've passed over 120 kidney stones. I've been hospitalized for 7mm, 5mm, and a pack of 12. I would wish them on *NOONE*. Edit. For those venturing below this comment. Yes, I've seen doctors. Yes, it's under control. Yes, my diet is weird. No, I'm not unwell all the time. Actually, rarely sick. I duly appreciate all the concern. Adult birth. That woman who had a tumor which turned out to be her twin. 2 childbirths. Twin childbirth. Having a child die. As a father, it is difficult to even type these words. I'm a mother, and I lost my first. Solidarity, brother. Watching my wife give birth in agony because the hospital fucked up giving her any pain relief. Then watching my first son born unable to breathe, having air forced into his lungs, and being rushed out of the room to be worked on. He's 9 soon. Every time his breath lingers, when I see him sleep I remember the heat, the smell of the delivery suite, the bucket of adrenaline on an empty stomach. Even seeing that, and sat scared with my wife waiting for the worst news we could hear, I'd rather not feel the physical and emotional exhaustion of childbirth. I don't think there is anything more painful. I have a trapped nerve in my spine and repeatedly passed out in physiotherapy. Still not pushing a melon out of something the size of a lemon. I'm dude, so I don't/won't ever know how back childbirth is. I did have a lumbar spinal fusion thought. I'll go out on a limb and say the first 48 hours of that experience, even with pain medicine, was pretty goddamn excruciating. I sincerely hope that fusion was worse than childbirth. There's nothing like your nervous system bitching about screws through bone to help you gauge relative pain.